you know where this book's going to go. You've got a clear idea of what to do. You're eager to sign me. So then the next thing, I assume we schedule a call. What does that look like, and how can I go about ruling myself out during that call versus how can I let you know that not only am I a cool person to talk to, but that I'm going to have more books and you can look forward to representing me over a career rather than just this one novel?
Sure. So this tends to be surprisingly should be the easier part for you. So if you're, if you're a writer and you've written something that I'm, have a clear vision for, and, at this point, I'm guessing this probably isn't the first thing you've ever written, because it would be a big surprise to me if it was at this point. Usually, the manuscripts I offer on these days are usually, maybe the second or third that an author has written, or, is the first full length manuscript they've written, but they've written short stories, novellas, things like that. So when we get on the phone, I'm going to be teasing out of you what you like to read, what your vision is for the book, what your vision is for your career. Like a lot of times, for example, middle grade, if I have a middle grade manuscript that I'm really excited about, let's say it's a middle grade contemporary with maybe a little bit of a magical realism twist. So what I'm going to want to know is, okay, I'm really excited about this book. I have a big vision for it. I want to take it to editors. I'm going to hope to get you that deal that you want, that I want for you. So we'll say optimistically that's all going to happen within 6 months, right? If that happens, what's your next project? And then if that author says to me, oh, well, I want to write, an adult horror novel, then I might be a little bit like, okay, but you're not going to write any more middle grade, And it's kind of the question of, I'm totally fine with authors having separate genres, writing in different genres, jumping around, things like that. But what I'm looking for is to kind of build your career. And by building your career, it's a couple books, right? And a couple books within the same genre, within the same age range. And when I say within the same genre, it doesn't have to be like explicitly like one mystery and then another mystery, but something along the lines of, okay, if you're going to write an adult mystery and your next project is an adult thriller, that's great.
I think I've just wrote myself off your client list. That's too bad. But what if I'm going to use a really clever pen name for my adult horror, and I'm still going to be producing middle grade? Is that just going to be dividing my attention? Is that not going to be you're interested in representing one, but maybe not necessarily the other? What potential issues might that bring up?
Oh, I see. No, that's I'm going to clarify this. If you're continuing to write middle grade, that's fine. Then you can write other things, whatever you want. What I'm talking about is like if your first book you ever wrote was a middle grade, I come out and like, this middle grade is great. I'm calling you up. I'm offering you representation. You're like, great. Now I want to write horror, adult horror. Then it's like, okay, but what about middle grade? And you're like, no, I'm not writing any more middle grade. Then that's when it gets a little complicated. But if you're going to continue to write within the genre that I'm offering representation for, I will probably be more than happy to represent whatever it is else that you want to. And I have a lot of clients that do jump around. But I do make it very clear that, I'm looking for you to build a career, and to build a career, you need to be, it takes about like actually 6, I think the average, or this was a few years ago. I don't know if this is true anymore, but it's about 6 successfully published books before you make it financially as a career author. That's like the average. And so what I'm looking for is to get you to that point. And that will probably be within the same genre and same age range. And then, if you want to like jump around in other genres, I'm happy to explore that avenue with you. Particularly, here's where it can actually be beneficial is if I don't sell that middle grade project. Let's say I sign you for a middle grade project that doesn't sell. You're like, hey, I got this adult horror in my drawer. Let's try that. Let's switch gears for a little bit. We can also do that, but it's more of I want to make sure that the client, like when I offer, I'm going to be guiding you in a certain lane, and that you're okay with that lane.